use. Well, let's talk now to Ahmad Boston, who's the Director of Marketing and Communications at PennyAppeal, a charity that are fundraising for humanitarian support in Gaza. Good to talk to you today. Just explain what your charity does, what kind of fundraising, what kind of stuff you get in there.
Good afternoon. So we are and have been for many years now supporting the humanitarian cause of those suffering in Palestine through providing emergency aid, food, water, shelter. Of course, elsewhere around the world where it's possible, we focus on long-term sustainability projects, but our focus at this moment in time is around fundraising for emergency aid, because as you've just identified, the situation in Gaza at this moment in time is truly critical.
Do you have teams on the ground in Gaza at the moment, or are they in Egypt?
So we do have partners within Gaza itself, but they are finding it extremely difficult to do their job in terms of distributing aid because of the constant air raids, bombardment. And as we know, so many hundreds of thousands of people have gone to the southern part of Gaza. But even now, today and throughout the night, there's been a number of attacks, as you've documented on your program, which have only made the situation even worse. So it's an incredibly difficult situation, even for those organizations that have partners and teams within Gaza itself.
And what about on the Egyptian side? If the border is eventually reopened and aid is able to get in, do you have people down there actually getting stuff in, or is your stuff back here in the UK?
We're absolutely confident that if the border does open with Egypt, we've been calling for it for a number of days now, that will significantly help our partners in terms of the work that we're doing, particularly around medical supplies, both in terms of over-the-counter medicine as well as specific medical equipment, which is required for people who are suffering from long-term conditions at the moment.
And since this all really kicked off 10 days ago, what kind of reaction have you seen from donors? Have more people in the UK been coming to give money?
People have been hugely generous to our charity Penny Appeal, and I think this has been seen across the board when people have seen the images of those suffering from both sides of the border. All of us, I think, have been absolutely heartbroken, especially when you look at the images of children, of mothers, and everything that they're going through. People have really given hugely to that. There's been no limit to the generosity of our communities here in Britain, and we're confident that that will most certainly continue. But our real concern now is whether we as humanitarian organizations working together will be able to keep up and cope with the level of demand that we currently see on the ground in Gaza, which is only increasing.
When you saw what happened last Saturday, what went through your head? Were you angry at Hamas, knowing that this was going to lead to a real deterioration of conditions for people living in the Gaza Strip?
I condemn, and we all condemn, all forms of violence, of bloodshed. It is absolutely devastating when I see on both sides the amount of people who have lost their lives, thousands of men, women, and children like you and I, who just want to live their lives, who want a state of normality, who want to be able to grow up and develop themselves in a way that we do here in the UK, access educational opportunities, employment opportunities, and it truly is heartbreaking. And sadly, when we look at the reality on the ground, many children, many women, many men, they've gone through this for years and years, but there's something different this time. It is on a scale that we've never seen before in Gaza, and that's the real fear of what exactly is going to come next. Where are we going to be in the next few hours? So many of our partners that we're speaking to on the ground are really fearful that the hospitals could become morgues because there just isn't the equipment to be able to treat people, and that basic water supplies that are absolutely now at chronic levels are just not enough to keep people alive and to allow people to survive. So it really, really is truly shocking when we look at the reality on the ground. You can't really put into words, I think, what people are going through over there at the moment.
Israel has said it wants to destroy Hamas entirely. If Hamas were taken out of the equation in Gaza, do you think that the Palestinians living there would be better off? Do you think they'd have a better future without an organisation like Hamas leading them?
We're a humanitarian organization, so we focus on the need wherever it is, and we don't get ourselves involved in terms of the politics. But the reality is that the people of Palestine, like the people of Israel, they need stability, they need security, they need safety, they need comfort, they need a stable life. And I think it's high time now that all those in positions of power and influence come together and really bring about a ceasefire. We need an urgent cessation of violence in the actual Gaza Strip itself, because this just is not sustainable. We're talking about a population of over 2 million people, at least 50% of whom are children under the age of 18. This cannot continue. We must have a ceasefire. We must have an opportunity to be able to provide basic humanitarian aid to those who are suffering, and also crucially to rebuild their lives as well, because emergency aid can only go so far. We do need to speak about the rebuilding of homes, the rebuilding of schools, the rebuilding of infrastructure. That is really important for any community and for any society to move forward.
Ahmed Boston from the Penny Appeal. Good to talk to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Well, Sky News will have a special programme on the Israel-Hamas war live from Jerusalem at 9 o'clock tonight.